Hello everyone, today I will provide you with information about the Hinterkaifeck murders. Located in Germany, this is one of the most chilling and unsolved cases in European history. It stands out not only for its brutality, but also for the bizarre details that occurred before and after the event. In the world of true crime, it is still remembered as the perfect mystery. Brief overview. Location: Hinterkaifeck Farm, Bavaria, Germany. Date: March 31st, April 1st, 1922. Victims: Andreas Gruber, his wife Cecilia, their daughter Victoria Gabriel, Victoria's children Cecilia and Joseph, and the maid Maria Baumgartner. Warnings before the murder. In March 1922, the farm owner Andreas Gruber noticed strange things. Footprints led from the woods to the house in the snow, but none led back. House keys went missing, and scratching sounds were heard from the attic. More terrifyingly, the previous maid had quit months earlier, claiming the house was haunted. On March 31st, the new maid, Maria Baumgartner, arrived. It would be her last day alive. The night of the crime and the victims. The murders were committed between the night of March 31st and April 1st. The victims were lured one by one into the barn and killed with a mattock, a tool similar to a pickaxe. The most disturbing detail: the killer remained. What makes Hinterkaifeck a true nightmare is what happened after the murders. For several days before the bodies were discovered, the livestock were fed. Meals were eaten in the kitchen. Smoke was seen rising from the chimney. The killer lived in the house with the corpses for days. Major suspects and theories. Family secrets. Andreas Gruber was known to have an abusive and incestuous relationship with his daughter Victoria. This led many to believe the motive was deep-seated family revenge or a dark secret boiling over. Lorenz Schlittenbauer, a neighbor who reportedly had a relationship with Victoria. He was the first to find the bodies and behaved suspiciously by touching the evidence. However, no concrete proof was ever found. The stranger in the attic. The most haunting theory suggests the killer had been living in the attic for weeks, watching the family's every move before finally striking. The failure of the investigation. The crime scene was contaminated by hundreds of curious villagers. The victims' skulls were sent to Munich for examination, but were later lost during the chaos of war. Today, the farm no longer exists. It was demolished in 1923. Only a memorial stone remains. Initial reactions to the police investigation. The delayed investigation. The bodies were discovered on April 4, 1922, only after neighbors grew concerned. By the time police arrived, they determined the murders had occurred approximately 4 days prior. This delay resulted in the loss of critical physical evidence, such as tracks and scents. Initial shock and inadequacy. For the rural German police of that era, a series of murders this complex and brutal was unprecedented. Initial reports indicate that the crime scene was heavily compromised, as neighbors and onlookers had entered the premises. They were working in an environment devoid of modern criminal techniques. Early estimates regarding the killers. According to police reports, it was evident that the attack was fueled by personal hatred or revenge. The victims' hands were shattered, indicating they had tried to ward off the blows. The weapon used was a Ruthaue, a type of mattock or pickaxe used in agriculture, found on the farm, suggesting the weapon was not pre-planned but a crime of opportunity. Primary police perspectives and suspect profiles. Throughout the investigation, the police focused on several different theories, compiled from interrogation transcripts and inspectors' notes of the time. The insider. Theory. Police were convinced that the killer was intimately familiar with the farm's routines. Evidence included the killer's awareness of the new maid's arrival, the killing of the dog, and the fact that the perpetrator stayed at the farm for 3-4 days after the murders to feed the cattle and eat meals. This strengthened the idea that the killer was a local or perhaps even a member of the family. The Carl Gabriel, Victoria's husband. Theory: Victoria's husband, Carl, had not returned home after World War I and was officially recorded as deceased. However, some officers speculated he might have survived and returned to seek revenge for his wife's rumored scandalous relationship, incestuous allegations involving her father. This theory was never supported by concrete evidence. The neighbor or former employee theory. Police questioned neighbors who had disputes with the family, as well as the former maid who had quit shortly before the murders, claiming she heard ghostly noises. However, all had solid alibis. Escaped convict or transient worker theory. Groups of escaped prisoners or traveling laborers operating in the region were also under suspicion. However, police found this theory weak, believing such individuals would lack the motivation or knowledge to remain on the farm for days and tend to the livestock. Court records and the official investigative deadlock. The official investigation never culminated in a court trial because a suspect was never identified. However, the investigative files and prosecutorial records contain vital details. Forensic findings. Autopsy reports revealed that all adult victims died from head trauma, while young Cecilia showed signs of strangulation. The time of death for all victims was consistent with the evening of March 31st. Documentation of evidence deficiency. Official records explicitly state that the crime scene could not be secured from day one, causing physical evidence like fingerprints and footprints to lose reliability. This is recorded as the primary official factor that rendered the case unsolvable. Closure of the investigation. Despite interrogating over 100 people over several decades into the 1930s, the case remained cold. The file was officially closed in the 1960s. Today, it remains unsolved in the historical archives of the Bavarian State Police. Modern assessment and legacy. Today's criminologists and researchers tend to agree with the original insider theory. Specifically, the fact that the patriarch, Andreas Gruber, had complained to neighbors about seeing ghostly tracks leading to the farm shortly before the murders suggests the killer was hiding on the property before the attack. However, naming a specific individual remains impossible. In conclusion, according to police views, the Hinterkaifeck murders were likely the result of a personal relationship, committed by someone who knew the victims, harbored deep resentment, and acted with chilling composure by remaining at the scene. The court records document the inadequacy of the judicial system of that era when faced with such a complex case and highlight the irreparable mistake of failing to secure the crime scene. This case maintains its place in history as a tragedy defined by rural isolation, family secrets, and a lack of justice. The details of the investigation continue to be debated and inspire new theories even today. Would you like me to find more information about the specific forensic techniques used in Germany during the 1920s to better understand why the investigation failed? The question remains, who was the killer and why did they stay? That's all I have to say today. You can subscribe and turn on notifications to be informed about new videos. Thank you everyone for watching my video. Stay tuned for more.